Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of RotoBaller Radio's Waiver Wire Series. I'm your host, Anthony Aniano. Happy to be with you here today as we take a look at pitchers available on the waiver wire for Week 11 of your fantasy baseball season. The week beginning Monday, June 20th. Folks, don't forget to win big in 2022 with rotoballer.com's MLB and DFS Premium Pass, which includes 15 exclusive lineup tools, daily DFS cheat sheets, and our new Team Sync platform. Use RotoBaller's exclusive hitter projections, pitching planners, DFS value plays, research stations, lineup optimizer, and more to help you win big. For a limited time, get your MLB Premium Pass for an extra 10% off using the discount code ACES. Visit rotoballer.com, sign up today, and start rotoballing like a boss. All right, everybody. Week 11, June 20th, the week beginning, is upon us. Full disclosure, I am recording on Saturday, June 18th, before the action starts later today. As always, I use the Yahoo roster percentages as my starting point at or about 40%, trying to keep it at. And I got a couple of starters. I'll be honest, I'm not thrilled. Steady arms, consistent arms, give you decent starts, keep ratios low, not necessarily high strikeout guys, but we do have an opportunity to get some saves this week off the waiver wire. We start with Zach Davies of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Still only 10% rostered on Yahoo, and really just not making sense for me. K rate is low on the season, only 57 strikeouts in 69 innings. However, in his last 20 and 2/3 innings, he struck out 20 batters, about 8.7 Ks per 9 over that period. And he's been fantastic of late in those last 20 and 2/3 innings, pitching to a 1.31 ERA and a 0.87 whip. On the season, the ERA is 3.78, and his batting average against is 2.37. Okay, that ERA of 3.78 supported by an expected ERA of 3.55. So overall, the numbers are good for Zach Davies. Scares people away with the lower K rate, only 7.4 for the season per 9 innings. Next start is Monday the 20th against the San Diego Padres. So he's in line for a 2-start week, but understandable if you don't want to go with him against San Diego. But I have to mention him. I mentioned him last week as well, as I think. Okay, over those last 20 and 2/3 innings, he has pitched terrific for Arizona. Could be a trade candidate as well as the season goes on if he keeps pitching well, as Arizona could potentially move him to a contender. Speaking of contenders, Ross Stripling of the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, his last start was not good. Got beat up by the Yankees. I almost put an asterisk next to that because, truthfully, everybody's getting beat up by the Yankees. It's almost like, you almost have to forget about it because that's how good the Yankees offense has been, that you can't even, I feel like I almost can't judge, pun intended, I guess, can't judge the guy against that matchup. Before that Yankees start, he had thrown 11 shutout innings, had Ross Stripling. So I kind of take more of the good there than the bad. Over the last 14 days, 9 strikeouts in his last 14 and 2/3 innings. Nothing great. It's about 5.5 Ks per 9. But over those last 14 and 2/3, so that's the 2 shutout games plus the Yankee game, his ERA sits at 1.23. So he was terrific for his first 11 innings over the last 2 weeks. Then those last 3 and 2/3 beat up by the Bronx Bombers. Whip still over that period sits at 0.61. Like I said, the ERA over those last 2 weeks still sits at 1.23. And the ERA on the season now sits at 3.28. And the whip is at 1.07. So big picture, still pitching well. And on a team where I very rarely mention wins here, but on that Blue Jay team, he does have the opportunity to pick up some wins. His next start is June 22nd against the Chicago White Sox. 38 strikeouts and 46 and 2/3 innings on the year. It's a little over 7 Ks per 9. I mentioned the season-long 3.28 ERA with a 3.45 expected ERA. Ross Stripling giving pretty consistent starts. Pick your poison with him. Avoid the Yankees like you do with just about every other starter in fantasy baseball. Taijuan Walker of the New York Mets, 36% rostered. Over his last 12 innings, 14 strikeouts, a 3.75 ERA, and a whip of 1.17. He has been very consistent for the Mets. Anybody who knows I'm watching them. He's consistent. He hasn't gotten blown up. Okay, he's not dominant, but at the end of the day, he's going 6 innings, 2 runs, and getting an opportunity to win a ball game for the New York Mets. Not a lot of strikeouts. Only 35 Ks in 52 and 2/3 innings with an ERA of 3.08 and a whip of 1.25. Batting average against is at 2.49. Now, his next 2 starts against the Miami Marlins. One of those starts is later today. Okay, and we go through this every week. Take a look at how he does. Pitches great against Miami today. Bump him up maybe a little bit in your fab budget. If he doesn't pitch great, maybe you slide him down. But he goes back-to-back Miami starts. June 18th, today, Saturday, and then next week on June 24th, scheduled against the Marlins. And finally, if you're looking for the K upside, I've mentioned them in the past, but Roansy Contreras of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Now, his last 2 starts were not great. Didn't get out of the 5th inning. Again, on the road against the Cardinals and on the road against Atlanta. 2 very tough matchups. Atlanta, right now, like the Yankees, just unbeatable. Okay? But Contreras is at 36% rostered. And even with those outings against the Cardinals and the Braves, he does have 17 strikeouts in his last 14 and 2/3 innings. Contreras is only still at 36% rostered on Yahoo. Okay, so you're getting almost over 10 Ks per 9 on the year. Okay, 35 and 2/3 on the year and over the last 14 days from Contreras. ERA sits at 3.68 over the last 14 and just a tad over 3 at 3.06 on the season. Next start is a much better matchup, and part of the reason I mention him today, because he goes next week, June 22nd, against the Chicago Cubs. So based on matchup, it's not a bad outcome, outing lined up for him next against the Chicago Cubs. So we got Zach Davies, Ross Stripling, Taijuan Walker, a lot of veterans this week, and then Roansy Contreras of the Pittsburgh Pirates with a great matchup coming up against the Cubs. Now, if you need saves, I've mentioned Tanner Houck. He's a little more rostered. He's up over 50%, so I'm not really going to get into him. Got his 3rd save last night. However, as expected, he's taken over for the Red Sox. Kendall Graveman of the White Sox, not going to get deep into him. He's about 52% roster, but Liam Hendricks on the IL. Kendall Graveman, 2 saves on the season, 28 and 2/3 innings, 27 strikeouts, 2.51 ERA. However, there are a couple of other guys, but all in the National League East. Tanner Scott of the Miami Marlins, if you're chasing saves, he is producing them when the Marlins win. 32% rostered, 10 strikeouts in his last 5 and 2/3 innings. However, the ERA, he does give up runs. Over those last 5 and 2/3 innings, ERA is 4.76. On the season, the ERA is 5.04. However, he seems locked in as the closer right now with 3 saves over the last 14 days and 5 saves now total on the season. And Philadelphia, Corey Knebel taken out of the closer role. They say it's a committee situation. Brad Hand got the last save for the Philadelphia Phillies, but we got to mention him and Sir Anthony Dominguez, both pitching totally lights out. Brad Hand, 16% rostered on Yahoo. On the season, a 1.86 ERA with 21 strikeouts and 19 1/3 innings pitched. 2 saves on the season and actually got the last save for the Philadelphia Phillies just the other night. Okay? And then there's Sir Anthony Dominguez, who probably has better stuff than Brad Hand. 34 strikeouts in 25 innings on the year. Okay? 1.80 ERA. Over his last 5 1/3 innings, 10 strikeouts with a 1.69 ERA. Now, he doesn't have a save yet. But here's the thing. This could easily become a matchup situation with Hand being a righty, Dominguez being a lefty. Somebody's going to get the hold in the 8th inning. Someone's going to get the save in the 9th inning. So, going to be unpredictable. I think it's going to be a true committee type of situation in Philadelphia. But both pitchers are going to have the opportunity to get you saves over the course of the next couple of weeks or months out of Philadelphia. So, starters, give me Contreras for strikeouts, Davis for the low ERA, Stripling, Taijuan Walker have been consistent, excluding matchups against the Yankees. If I need saves, Tanner Houck, Kendall Graveman in the best spots, on the best teams, and I think the most secure. Okay, Dominguez and Hand are in a committee in Philadelphia, and Tanner Scott if you're chasing saves out of Florida. All right, everybody. Don't forget, head over to rotoballer.com. Check out everything we have there. Follow me on Twitter at @Aniano Fantasy. And we'll see you next time right here on RotoBaller Radio. Have a good one, folks.